Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Grow My Business webinar. For those of us who's been joining the past webinars, I'm sure you're surprised to see I'm the one speaking. Wendy is unable to join us today, so I will be hosting. And today we have with us a very interesting guest who will be speaking to us about how to position your pharmaceutical business for success. But just before we get into it, I'd like to just run us through some of our house rules. So I'm hosting. My name is Zainab. I work with Flutterwave. I head the SME vertical. Wendy is also a co-host, but like I said earlier, she's not joining us today. Just a brief intro on our speaker today. His name is Taofik Odukoya. He is the founder and CEO of Vanguard Pharmacy, one of the largest pharmaceutical chain stores in southwest of Nigeria. He's been running the brand successfully for over 15 years with growth year on year. Vanguard Pharmacy is a one-stop shop for pharmacy, veterinary, supermarkets, with the mission to create smart health benefits for people to succeed and thrive. He's a pharmaceutical management professional with over 20 years experience. So he's going to be talking to us about his experience in that field. He's also going to be offering professional expertise and a diverse range of skills in entrepreneurship, business management, market development, and customer relations. He's also very passionate about retail industry in Nigeria. So just a quick rundown of how the webinar is going to go today. We're going to have quick introductions and house rules. If you see at the bottom part of the screen, there's a folder called Q&A session. So all the questions that you have, please put it in the Q&A session, and then we would respond to those questions. So we're going to have the Q&A session with Mr. Taofik, and then we'll have the Flutterwave session, and then we'll have another Q&A session, general, this time from our participants. So also to note, the webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be sent out to all participants via email by close of business Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, you'd have a link to view all our previous webinars. It's on the playlist on YouTube. You can just go search with Flutterwave or search with Grow My Business webinar, and then you see all our past recordings of all the webinars. So like I said earlier, you can ask all questions in the Q&A section, just at the bottom of the screen, you'd see it there. So put in all your questions in there. And then if for whatever reason we're unable to answer questions, maybe because of time, or we're not able to get to you, please feel free to send us an email, hi@flutterwavego.com. You can also send direct messages to @Flutterwave support on Twitter for all issues and additional questions. Thank you very much. So I guess we can just go right on to the Q&A session with Taofik.
My name is Taofik Odukoya, as likely introduced. I'm founder, CEO, Vanguard Pharmacy. I have a co-founder who happens to be Mrs. Odukoya, my wife. The Vanguard story is something I'm passionate about to share, and it's a story I believe can inspire a lot of people in Nigeria. Just like every other pharmacy business in this country, we started from the very humble beginning, a 30 square meter space, which happens to be the minimum requirement by law to run a pharmacy. But of course, we have never always wanted to settle for mediocrity. So what we have today in Vanguard are actually shopping floor that sit on about 750 square meter space. We started with little or no fund, but again, we were determined to actually make a success out of it. So if you have followed Vanguard Pharmacy, from that 30 square meter in 2006, we migrated into what happens to be today our corporate head office. It's a 3-story building. But beyond that, we've been able to ensure that we multiply ourselves. We currently operate in 3 states of the Federation, of course, with an intention and a strong desire to actually spread across the country, Nigeria, and even beyond Nigeria. But overall, we are known today as a one-stop shop for pharmacy, veterinary, and supermarkets. And our people, I would say, are our greatest asset.
All right, thank you for that. How has the journey been? How did you start out in the business, and how has the journey been so far?
Okay. We started out, I know people will ask, did you start with a lot of millions of naira? And I'm always eager to tell people no. We started out with our personal savings from my wife and myself, and that money is actually very, very small. Don't ask me the value today. So every time I read about successful business people today, and I hear about how they started, I'm always excited and waiting and praying to God that one day we too will have the opportunity of telling the world our story. Of course, the money was small, like I said, but we were committed to learning the rudiments of business very early in life. So we started with 3 people, myself, my wife, and 1 other staff. But as of today, the business have over 150 people under our employment. And these are not just ordinary people. We are talking of professionals, pharmacists, veterinary doctors, chartered accountants, HR professionals, and a lot more as of today. We run one of the most organized retail store in Nigeria. Of course, a lot of people might not get to know us yet, but we know that within the next few years, most people will get to hear more about Vanguard as we intend to actually spread across the length and breadth of this country. Of course, today, the company generates a lot of billions of naira in revenue, and that is a bit of a story I would like to tell. I'm sure with more questions, people will ask, how are you able to do it? Maybe during the course of the session, we'll be able to tell people more.
Thank you very much. It's been very inspiring so far. So I was going to ask, operationally, what would you say has been the biggest driver of your success as a business? And also, how long have you been in business?
Okay, we've been in business exactly about 14 years. We'll be 14 years by November 20th. And for me, the biggest driver for success in Vanguard Pharmacy is actually our excellent customer experience. And of course, the excellent customer experience is something we found out early that does not exist in the healthcare space in this country. It was so poor when we came into the retail space. And it was something we were determined to make sure we raise the bar. So how do you get excellent customer experience? It stems from the motivation of our people. And of course, that's why we are an organization that does a lot of investment in the people that works in our business. Because for us, we know if your people are not motivated, they can't actually give that level of experience that it is expected to give to the customer. The other thing that has also set us apart, really, it's actually our combination of pharmacy, veterinary, and supermarket, where we have been adjudged as one of the few organizations that carry the largest variety under a single roof. That has helped us to attract customers from far and near. I tell you, we have customers from the north, we have customers from the east, and we have, of course, customers from the south. And that is because our offering are not what you can readily get practically everywhere. For example, you have a pet and you want to take care of your pet with the best of multivitamins. Vanguard Pharmacy is one of the few places in Nigeria that you can actually get that from. And so for me, those are 2 key drivers of the brand. The other thing that has also helped us operationally is the fact that very early in life, in the life of the business, we understand that three things will play a key role, and that is understanding the three P's: the people, the product, and the processes. So yes, we know we have got good product. We are trying to invest heavily in our people. One thing we also learned early again is the fact that we must wrap all of this into a process that allows the business to function, whether the founders are available in the business or the founders are not available in the business. And for me, that is one thing that is also very, very scarce in this space where we actually operate. Most people, they run a system where everything is tied or wrapped around themselves, and that has not actually allowed them to actually grow and expand their business. But for us, we understood that clearly, and it's able to actually help us to run a lot of multi-stores, and we are sure that we have the capacity to run a lot more stores. So I think those key areas will actually have been, for me, the key drivers of our business.
All right, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting because you mentioned that you have customers from all around Nigeria. So that definitely speaks to the fact that you're investing in marketing and awareness as well. So that actually brings me to my next question, which is how do you get visibility for your business, and what is your strongest marketing driver?
Okay, for us, visibility, thank God for the online media space. We actually do a lot of investment in the digital and social media space. So you will see that we are so strong on Facebook, we are so strong on Instagram, Twitter, and beyond that, we spend a lot of money too, trying to promote our brand online using some other tools that are also available. And I will also want to emphasize to a lot of people, they think marketing spend is actually an expense. No, to us, we see marketing spend as an investment. In fact, there is this equation we like so much in Vanguard Pharmacy. One equation that was highly promoted a long time ago that says that marketing plus innovation minus cost is equal to profit. Everything aside from marketing and innovation amount to cost. And once you can spend aggressively on marketing and innovation, then obviously you can't see them as cost, but as investment. So that thinking, that mindset has truly helped us a lot. And that's why for us, yes, we still do some traditional media, some traditional means of marketing and advertising, but digital space out there, because we know with what we carry, it's easier for us to actually get customers from far and near. So that has actually helped us in terms of visibility.
Okay, I think I like that equation. Marketing plus innovation minus cost.
Yeah, minus cost, yes. Is equal to profit.
I like that equation. Okay, so that brings me to my next question. What changes have you had to make as a business owner due to the pandemic, and how did the business adapt to the pandemic? Because we know that a lot of businesses today have been affected, either by having to shut down completely or having to shut down partially. And even when they say reopen, it hasn't really gone back to how it used to be, right? I know for a fact that the foot traffic in most physical locations have definitely reduced. So how have you been able to, as a business owner, adapt, and what sort of changes have you made?
Well, I think for us in Vanguard, we work with a framework that is referred to as the AAA framework. The AAA framework simply means agility, adaptability, and alignment. So we are an organization that is highly adaptive. We started talking aggressively about COVID-19 in Vanguard Pharmacy as far back as January, when a lot of people are still not aware of the damage it can actually cause. So that early discussion helped us a lot. We knew what will happen at a point in time in Nigeria. The only thing we didn't know was when it would happen. So our preparation stemmed aggressively from January. We were keeping enough inventory in-house because we knew and we had anticipated that there was going to be a shutdown of the economy, because we've seen it happen in some other parts of the world, specifically China then, as far as January. So when it begins to eat, the next thing we needed to do was to go back into our framework. How do we work around agility? And we were able to respond early enough. One major decision we took was signing off a deal, a relationship with one of our logistic partners to ensure that we can deliver across the length and breadth of this country. And as of today, we are one of the very few retail business that actually have that capacity to deliver to any part of Nigeria as we speak. And for us, it was a huge, huge, huge decision and timely one that we actually did. Before then, we have been able to deliver, but it wasn't something we actually market and we put in the forefront. But of course, because we're saying that the pandemic will come, we had to quickly tie that, and we worked with ensuring that delivery services can happen all across the length and breadth of Nigeria. And that truly helped us a lot. And again, it stems from understanding the value chain that you have. And once you understand all of that, it was going to be, of course, you don't also have to forget that we play in a sector that wasn't actually negatively affected by the pandemic, because we work in the pharmacy and veterinary space, as well as the supermarket and grocery business. So, of course, but the major way was that we knew footfalls might reduce. How do we take care of that footfall that will reduce? It's about going out to ensure that we can actually deliver the goods and services at the doorstep of our customers. So those were some of the top decisions that we took during the pandemic. And of course, the result is actually out there to show for it.
All right, thank you very much. I think agility and adaptability are very, very key
extremely
for business owners to have. You know, even outside of the pandemic, you should be able to quickly adapt to changing, you know, forces around you. Otherwise, you might have to go out of business. So that takes me to my next question, which is, where do you see your business in the next year, in the next 5 years, and the next 10 years?
Interestingly, in Vanguard, we look at our business with the lens of a decade. As at 2010, we came out with a vision that was called Vision 2020 for Vanguard Pharmacy. Fortunately for us, we were able to surpass all the indices that was set for Vision 2020 as far back as 2018. So one thing we are currently doing now is Vanguard Vision 2030. And of course, we want Vanguard Pharmacy to have become a multinational retail store and a unicorn by the end of this decade, 2030. And of course, the work required, we know it's a lot of work, and we are putting in a lot of energy and effort as of today in ensuring that that vision is also actualized at least 2 years before that. In fact, I was telling my team that if you can actualize it 5 years before, because Vision 2020 was actualized 2 years before. So with all our learnings and experience and exposure, I think we can give Vision 2030 a shot and say in the next 5 years, let us deliver on this.
Very good, very interesting. How has technology impacted on how you conduct business today?
Okay, technology. Of course, there is no way in Vanguard we can talk about technology without mentioning Flutterwave. Flutterwave has helped us in revolutionizing the way we collect payments in Vanguard Pharmacy. And I still want to say categorically that we are one of the very few retail stores out there that actually have one of the most flexible way of collecting revenue from our customers, whether they are online customers, they are in our brick and mortar store. I think that has actually helped us. So of course, without technology and Flutterwave pushing aggressively in that space, it will have been difficult for me to be fronting that right now. But beyond that too, we are an organization that leverage on technology. We have one of the best ERP in the retail space as of today in this country. And that has allowed us to have an end-to-end view of the business. So I tell people, if you want to go into any form of a business, you must first understand what impact technology can have. And we sat down a long time ago, and we took that investment around 2014 to actually migrate to one of the best ERP for retail in the world. And you know, at that point in time, people were asking us, why are you spending this much? But of course, it was because they didn't know that we are an organization that have a vision and we were going somewhere. Of course, today, a number of them begin to see that investment of 2014 is now looking like a peanut today, but it was a huge amount of money there. So by and large, in the retail space, technology will continue to evolve and it will play a long role. And Vanguard Pharmacy is actually in the forefront of that. So we have been able to use technology to improve our payment collections and reduce waiting time of our customers. We have used technology to also have a complete overview of the entire business. And of course, business is good and easy with technology.
All right, thank you very much. I think it's very important for every business owner to know that you can't successfully run a business without, you know, integrating technology into it. And technology is not there to make things complex or cumbersome. It's actually there to simplify the process and free up your time that you can even focus on other things, you know, or even focus on starting other businesses. So it's a must-have really for every business owner, you know, who is looking to scale. So that takes me to
I sure agree with you 100% on that.
Right,
Scaling and transformation would not happen without the right investment in technology. It's as simple as that.
So what is the future for this type of business? And what will you say has been the biggest issue for running the business?
Okay, maybe let me start with your second question. For us in Vanguard, the biggest issue for running retail space for us is power. And I will, without mincing word, I will say power is a big deal. In fact, if government can solve that power challenge in Nigeria, it will impact significantly on almost every business, including the retail that we are in. Because apart from the cost of diesel or the investment we even have to do in alternative sources of energy, like solar and inverter to power some of our investments is also huge. And beyond that, the cost of maintaining generator is also there. So these are big issues that I feel that government should look into and help us solve. I know a lot of people always talk about people, but for us in Vanguard, we have benefited a lot from a lot of good people. Of course, it's also because we are able to share our vision with every member of our team, down to the drivers and the securities, and they know the kind of organization we intend to build. So that level of communication has always helped us in bringing out the best from our team. The future of retail, of course, I say retail has a future, but I believe that the mode of conducting retail will always change. I know in the past, retail used to rely solely on brick and mortar store. But of course, at the point in time, some people thought, no, online will be the only solution. But we are beginning to realize today that whether online or offline, brick and mortar, it's actually a combination where what a term we refer to as omnichannel today is actually the way to go. And that's why you will see even the likes of Amazon that are leading in the retail space now, they are now even also coming into brick and mortar. You see the likes of Walmart that are the grandfather of retail brick and mortar, also now also going into the online space. So omnichannel is the way to go. And it's going to be interesting, really. I can't begin to imagine with the advancements in AI, artificial intelligence that is ongoing, and a lot of things that is still going to happen with technology. We are already talking about 5G. Just a few days ago, I was reading about 6G. If all of these things comes into reality, it's going to actually make retail extremely more interesting. But again, I will say that people should know that omnichannel will still be the way to go because we are dealing with human beings. Human beings at times want to have a physical contact with their product, even they might have actually started the conversation online. So the ability to be able to combine the two successfully will, for me, is what I see in the future.
All right, thank you very much. My next question is, what's a huge lesson you've learned as a business owner, especially one who has been able to scale the business over the years? What would you say has been the huge lesson you've learned so far?
Okay, for me, I think it's just one major thing. They've told us in various literatures that the people will be your most important assets, and they can also be the most troublesome assets you will have. But I think doing the right investment in training and development for our people has been one of the greatest assets for us in Vanguard Pharmacy. And I always believe that if you treat your people well and you do the right investment that is required in your people, then it will be easier to actually get around every other thing that is important out there that you can begin to think of. So if I want to counsel and tell anybody today, I will tell them that yes, they must identify the required training and development that is needed for the immediate and the distant future to grow their business. And once they do, they put all of that into consideration, they see it as an investment. Obviously, the return will come in the long run. So training and development in the people, for me, tops my list. Of course, I can come up with some other things, but as number one thing, I would go for training and development.
All right, thank you so much for that. You can't overemphasize the fact that you need to invest in the people that work with the organization. So this brings me to my final question. This question has already been asked on the Q&A because I took a glimpse in. I see a lot of people are actually asking this question, which is, if you had one piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would it be?
The simple advice I will give, number one, is that even now, things are happening in Nigeria. I know a number of people don't have hope for this country. But if someone like Vanguard Pharmacy as a brand can start and excel, and we are still excelling, then I tell people that there is a lot of hope in this country. And we are the ones that will obviously have to change Nigeria. So of course, the other key one in terms of their business, I won't sell them the hope, is the fact that when business owners make profit early in their life, the early stages of the business, they should never see that money as a profit. They should channel that profit back into the business, and more importantly, into the investment in the kind of future they desired for that business. I know a whole lot of people have counseled. They've asked me again, and I tell them that once you think you are making profit, and most small businesses will make profit at the early stages, please, they should take that profit and invest it back into the kind of future. One, it will mean developing yourself as a business owner. So what sort of education do you need to get to the next level? Once you begin to do that, you must ask again, who are your people? Sell them the idea and make sure you also do the right investments in them, so that together all of you can begin to see that vision into the future. And there can't be anything more than that. The reality is that that small profit that you have invested into the future will eventually generate enough profit that will be more than enough for the business owners and even for the staff that you eventually have and you want to keep. But what I see is the reverse. Most small businesses, once they begin to make money, well, you know, the culture of delayed gratification is very, very scarce in Nigeria. People want to earn gratification early enough. And what will eventually happen is you see them flaunting their wealth early enough, and it does not allow them to have the capacity to actually grow their business as much as they would want.
Okay. Thank you so much, Taofik, for that very insightful and inspiring session. I can see that we have quite a lot of questions already for you. Yes,
Oh, okay.
Q&A. So, but what we'll do is very quickly, I'll just do a short presentation on Flutterwave offerings for SMEs, and then we'll now come back and take all the questions. So I'll quickly share my screen. It's a short presentation, which I will be talking about. Right. Okay. So, hi everyone. I know most of us have joined our Grow My Business webinar before now, so we sort of have an idea on what this is about. I just want to run us through some of the initiatives which Flutterwave has put together for small business owners in a time such as this, and not just for this COVID era. These are still initiatives that are very useful even post-COVID, right? So the first one of these initiatives, like we all know, is the Grow My Business webinar, which is designed to equip small and medium-sized businesses with the right tools, the right information, the right materials required to scale, in this period. So it happens every Monday morning by 10 a.m. Nigerian time. And we also feature various industry experts. So for example, today we featured Taofik, who's the CEO of Vanguard Pharmacy, talking about how you can position your pharmaceutical business. So we have various experts come in, talk to us on things that you would require to scale your business as it applies to you. So if you know of any small, medium business owner, feel very free to tell them about the Flutterwave Grow My Business webinar. It happens every Monday. It's free. It's by 10 a.m. All you need to do is register to attend. And then, like I said earlier, after the webinar, we'll share the video recording with you so that you can still go back and in case you missed anything, you can listen and watch the webinars again. Another thing we've put together for small businesses is the partnership we have with Google. I'm sure a lot of us remember towards the beginning of the year, we had the very first digital business compass in partnership with Google, which is basically a workshop for small business owners designed to train them on how to scale their business, give them access to the right tools required to create visibility and awareness. So that event was scheduled to hold every quarter, but because of COVID, it's not going to be holding physically anymore. However, what we have in place for business owners is free listing on Google My Business. So Google My Business is a tool that allows business owners showcase details themselves online. So if someone does a Google search about your business and you are listed on Google My Business, details about your business will be displayed on the search page. So things like your location, you can even upload, a picture of your store, things like your phone number, your opening hours, your closing hours. People can even reach out to you and interact with you directly from that Google search, right? So there's a call button, and then if they click on it, your number, of course, is imputed back end, and they can actually just call you directly from that Google search. So what Google My Business does for business owners is it allows people know about your business. It creates visibility, publicity. Everybody's online now, right? People are not moving about as much as they used to. So it's important that you have that online presence and people know about your business. So that's what the Flutterwave partnership with Google offers to you. Free listing on Google My Business. And then the third one is the Flutterwave store, which I know most of you have heard about. Flutterwave store is simply the best and easiest way to launch your e-commerce business. It allows you accept payments from anywhere in the world. It allows you list your products, upload pictures of your products, put prices, sizes, whatever descriptions you have, and then you can just go ahead and share your Flutterwave store link with your customers. So think of Flutterwave store as your own mini website, right? We know not a lot of people have the expertise or even the financial strength to say they want to build a website, because it goes beyond just building the website. website, you have to also manage it every year. You have to pay a certain amount and all of that. If you don't have a website and you want to still be able to sell your products online, then the Flutterwave store is for you. Flutterwave store really is for anyone who has any product or service to sell. It allows you to do all of that online, and it's absolutely free. You know, we conceived this idea of Flutterwave store to help businesses thrive. Even during the pandemic, you want you to be able to keep the lights on. So that's where Flutterwave store came in, made it as simple. So you don't need any technical expertise. You don't need to get someone to build any website for you. You can do all of this yourself in as little as 5 minutes. You're able to set up your Flutterwave store, upload products, put images, put product descriptions, things like prices, sizes, whatever it is, and then you just go ahead and share your store link with your customers. So you can do this either via social media. You can put it on your Instagram bio, you can put it on Twitter, you can put it on Facebook, you can even send it as a WhatsApp broadcast to your contacts. Just tell them, do you want to buy any of these items? Click on the link, select what you want, add it to your shopping cart, pay, I get your notification, and then I deliver. So it's as simple as that. It's very seamless, it's very straightforward. These are some of the advantages of having the Flutterwave store. Like I mentioned, it's very quick and easy to set up. You don't need to have a website. It allows you list all of your products. It also helps with inventory management system. An example of this is if you sell products in large numbers. For example, you have a skincare outfit, and then you have maybe 100 body washes, right? You know, as people, if you don't have like an inventory management system, as people are buying, you probably need to always go and confirm if you have enough stock, right? But with this one, when you're setting up your Flutterwave store, at the very initial stage, you put in the number of items. So if you have 100, you put it there. And then as people are buying, the number gets depleted. So automatically, if it's completely sold out, then they won't be able to make any more purchases. So that helps you with inventory management. Another beautiful thing is that it allows multiple payment options. So you can pay with your card, you can pay with bank transfer, you can pay with USSD, even QR code, right? Because there's some people that are used to card payment, or maybe you want to pay with your card and then you find out you don't have your card with you. You have your mobile app, you can pay with bank transfer. So all those payment options are made available to customers that are buying from the Flutterwave store. And also it accepts local and international cards. This is very important for those business owners who have customers outside of Nigeria. Before now, you know, you probably just send your bank account and then you hear things like, oh, I don't know this bank account, my bank doesn't allow me transfer. But with Flutterwave store, all you need to do is share the link with them. They can put in their card details. It accepts both local and international cards. So that takes care of that problem for business owners. So these are just screenshots showing how the process flow would work today. If you want to buy on Flutterwave store, you have to select the item that you want, add that item to your shopping cart, just the way you'd normally shop on, you know, like an Amazon or anywhere else. And then when you're done with that, it asks you for details. So things like your name, email address, phone number, delivery address, all those details are captured. And then when you put those details in, it takes you to the payment model where you select the payment option that you want. And then once you're done with that, you click on pay. If the transaction is successful, you get a confirmation displayed on the screen, and also an electronic receipt is sent to both the customer making the payment as well as the merchant who owns the business, right? And then you can now go ahead and send those goods out to whoever has made the payment. So it's very straightforward, it's very seamless. The beauty about this as well is if you don't have an automated means of collecting payment, say you have just a brick and mortar store, somebody walks into your store, let's say you sell, it's a female clothing store, you sell clothes, shoes and bags. Someone walks into the store, sees a pair of red shoes she likes, she pays for it, and then she leaves. Chances are you don't know anything about the customer. You don't know the customer's name. You don't know where the customer lives. You really don't know anything about the customer. All you know is I just made a sale of a pair of shoes and that's it. But if you have pivoted online, right, and you send this your Flutterwave store to your social media pages, and then the same customer goes there, clicks on the link, sees the pair of shoes that she likes, pays for it, guess what? You have the customer's name, you have the customer's phone number, you have the customer's email address, you have the customer's delivery address. So you can reach out to the customer even after the sales. You can send an email saying, thank you for your purchase, thank you for your order. We noticed you bought a pair of red shoes. Guess what? We have the orange available now. Would you like to buy this? You know, so you're able to interact further with the customer. It provides you with data analytics that you can now use for other things that will help you scale your business, right? You can decide to, you know, send the customer an email saying, guess what, we have new items, you know, that sort of engagement with your customer. It fosters that which you ordinarily would not have if you don't have an online presence. So like I said earlier, once a payment is successful, both the customer making the payment, the merchant who owns the business, they all get notification of this successful payment. And then the customer can now just engage their logistics company to deliver. If they do not have a logistics company, Flutterwave actually has logistics companies integrated which can handle deliveries on behalf of the customer. So that is also available for those who don't have delivery set up as well. I just want to show us a very short video. I know I've been saying that setting up on Flutterwave store is very fast and seamless. So I'll just show us a short video, literally 5 minutes, that will show you how you can set up your Flutterwave store in less than 5 minutes and start receiving payments as well. So yeah, let's watch this.
My name is Ted, and I am a product designer at Flutterwave. I want to walk you through what we've been building for the past couple of days.
Welcome to my dashboard. I'm going to walk us through two processes. The first process is how to set up your store and add products to the store. The second process will be how your customers will pay you and use your store. So I'm going to click on the store. By default, you have no products or store. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my own store now. My business name is my store name by default. I'm going to go and change mine to something else. I'm going to go with drinks and let's see, fun. You'll notice that I updated my store URL to reflect my store name. I am going to leave my store offline because I want to add products to my store before I take it live. I have successfully created my store. I now have my store name and my store URL. My URL is what I'm going to share with my customers for them to be able to make payments. You can only have one store on your Flutterwave account. I'm going to go ahead and add just one product. It's good to know that you can have more than one product. I'm going to go ahead and call this Tiger Nut Milk. Tiger Nut Milk goes for about 1,000 naira right now. Milk that's made from Tiger Nut. I'm just going to go with 0.38 and I have 10 items in stock. Next step is to take my store online. Now my store is online. I am going to proceed to the customer page, which is basically your storefront. As you can see here, Drinks and Fun is the name of my store. Flutterwave Store Demo is the name of my account. We have here the description of my store. As you can see, Tiger Nut Milk. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 bottles of Tiger Nut Milk. Click on Pay. I'm going to go ahead and refill this. Now we have a lot of payment options. You can give your customers a lot of payment options.
Okay, so that's just a short video showing how we can set up our Flutterwave store in literally 5 minutes, and you can start receiving payments almost immediately after that. So that brings us to the end of our session. We'll take the questions now. There's a couple of questions already on the Q&A segment. I'll just start out with the first one. Okay, so Taofik, I think this is for you. It says, hello, good morning, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm looking at setting up a pharmacy in Lagos. How much do you think one can start with? Also, what's your advice to someone who wants to start a pharmacy business in Lagos, Nigeria?
Okay, great one there. Lagos, Nigeria, it's actually a great market and a very, very huge market. The person has asked for how much. It's a function of the kind of pharmacy the person wants to open up. The major thing that the person should be looking out for is the location determines the rent, obviously. So once you can determine location, then of course you begin to have an idea of how much rent you need for the space that is desired. I will not be able to actually advise on that. But if you can sort out all of that, the next question is going to be about inventory and stocking. And I know that there are quite a lot of wholesalers out there in Lagos that actually give support for small businesses that want to start out. So it will mean that you have linked up with them and you are able to also give them a bit of a commitment, not necessarily financial commitment now, but making sure they understand your location, giving them, some might actually ask for positive checks and all of that, but they are able to actually release inventory. And inventory is the major part of the work. Once you can handle inventory well and ensure repayment is done timely, most of the time you enjoy that support from wholesalers and distributors for a long time to come. But again, from my experience, that's where a lot of young businesses falter. So you don't get inventory from a particular wholesaler, and when it's time to pay up, you are beginning to speak English. English means you are telling them the money is not available. The only English you should speak is to just pay up at that point in time, and you can get more inventory. So for anybody that wants to start out in Lagos, I know Lagos, according to the data that's available, have pharmacies in practically every local government, but there are still a lot of opportunities in some areas that you can actually open up pharmacy in Lagos.
All right, thank you very much for that. There's another question here. So he says, thank you for this opportunity. I know there are two categories of pharmacies recognized by law in Nigeria, wholesale and retail. And the size you mentioned, you started with, belongs to retail. So my question is, are you operating as a retailer or combining both? Secondly, he says, I heard you talking about marketing on the social media platform, but by law, pharmacies are not required to advertise. So how do you manage that?
Okay, I would, well, there are not two types of pharmacy recognized in Nigeria. There are actually a lot of areas for pharmacy. In fact, you can start with manufacturing, you can do direct importation, you can go into distribution and wholesaling, you can go into retail, you can go into hospital pharmacy. There's a lot of opportunity. In fact, there is a pharmacy, media, pharmacy and media too, where we have Pharma News. And I don't know if the person is a pharmacist, but the person should know. So there are quite a lot of areas and still evolving areas for pharmacy practice. For us in Vanguard Pharmacy, we are a retail store, and we don't have any apology for being a retail. It's because it stems from our passion of talking directly to the end users. And that's something we've invested in over the years, and it's an art that we have mastered. So we love to communicate and talk to the end users as best as possible. So all our stores today, yes, we operate in a very big shopping floor space. We are a retail store that talks to the end users. Yes, we started out from a 30 square meter. 30 square meter is the minimum required by law for retail store. For wholesale and distribution, they have a slightly larger spaces that the law, the minimum that the law requires.
All right, thank you very much. Another question here says, do you train people, particularly someone who's interested in starting a community chemist?
Well, I'm not sure I got that question. If that question is coming from a non-pharmacist, then I think I will understand where the mindset of the training is coming from. But if the question is coming from a pharmacist, of course, the only place to learn pharmacy and pharmacy practice is for the person to go to pharmacy school. I know those patent medicine dealers and the open market people talk about training and training and training. That is what happens in that space, but that is not pharmacy. That's more for patent medicine. Of course, for pharmacists that have gone to pharmacy school, we actually are accredited to train interns, and we actually train interns. We've been training interns since 2014 in Vanguard Pharmacy. In fact, we are one of the best places where anybody that intends to run a retail store in future can actually come for their internship. So we have trained a number of interns in Vanguard Pharmacy, and we still have the license to continue to train interns in Vanguard. So if the person is a pharmacist, yes, then of course, if the person wants to work with us, why not? You are thinking of running your own retail store in another 5 or 10 years. I think Vanguard will also be one of the a fantastic environment to actually work and gather good experience if you want to come into the retail space.
All right, thank you very much. The next question says, sir, how do you handle competition?
Well, competition is something that is always there and will never disappear. In fact, some of us are even saying the law that talks about 200-meter space should be abolished, because competition in reality should make you better. In fact, without competition, we won't be where we are today. So for us, we want competition because monopoly kills ideas. If you are in a monopoly, you will not have good thinking and you will not do the right investment. In fact, the equation I gave the other time, you remember my equation that says marketing plus innovation minus cost is equal to profit. That equation does not work under 3 conditions. And the first condition is when there is monopoly. Because once there is monopoly, there is no motivation to think. There is no motivation to begin to think into the future. Once there is corruption too, corruption does not allow good thinking. I don't know if you understand. And so those are some few conditions that will not allow that equation to actually hold. So competition is good. It should make us better. We shouldn't fear competition at all. It will simply mean we have to continue to raise the bar. And that's exactly what Vanguard Pharmacy has been doing ever since we started in 2006. The 30 square meter space we started with, our kind of store today cannot even succeed in such environment. Why? Because we want to continue to raise the bar and the standard for the customers to continue to benefit and to make it difficult for competition to come and compete with us. And overall, I think competition is something that should make us better and something we should not fear at all as an entrepreneur.
Okay, so there are a couple of questions here, but I think you've answered them already.
Okay.
Let me just look for one that you haven't. Okay, so there's one here that says, please, how do we pass through the process of getting NAFDAC approval to start a small pharmacy business?
Well, for anybody that wants to operate retail or wholesale, even distribution, we don't need NAFDAC approval. It's the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria that regulates where medication is sold in this country. So the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria have their offices across almost all the 36 states of the Federation, and you can walk in and get various requirements that is needed. If you want to go into importation or production of a particular product, that's where NAFDAC comes in to regulate what is being produced as best as possible. But I think this person needs to visit the nearest Pharmacists Council of Nigeria office to get, they will give you all the requirements. It's always available in all the offices, and you can get to study it. And it's not something that is difficult. It's something that is possible and is doable, even for small businesses.
All right. I think this is a question for Flutterwave, so I'll answer it. It says you're still having issues linking your Flutterwave account with the Facebook ad. I'm not sure I fully understand this, but can you send us an email, hi@flutterwavego.com, and then we would probably request
Zainab, I think there's a question above that.
Information so that we can look into. Is it?
Hello, Zainab.
Yes, please.
There's a question from Ifeanyi Unaji that spoke around funding.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would like to address that.
Okay, so the question says, please, how did you build your company structure that enables you have funding?
Yes, funding is what a lot of small businesses cry wolves about. But again, if you have seen small businesses, the question is discipline. As much as possible, when we started out as a small business, like I did mention, we started from personal savings. But of course, as you continue to grow your business, you put in the necessary structure in finance department, you put in the necessary structure in the area of inventory management, you make sure you have audited accounts and all of those basic requirements. Once you have all of that documentation and the clarity about what next your business, where next your business is going, it's always easy to actually attract funds. And I know there are a lot of financial institutions that are available in this country that support small businesses all around. But most of the time, the question is, are our business actually ready with those basic documentation that is required? So one basic thing the person should do is make sure you keep the necessary financial records and keep your account audited. I tell people that for us in Vanguard, we can actually flaunt our audited account from the year one that we started business up to this present moment. Those were not requirements that was sacrosanct for small businesses, but that was where we decided to start from because we knew the kind of organization we intend to build in the future. So all of these things are actually important. Even if you want to raise money from family and friends and you want to raise good money, if you can show people such level of documentation about your brand and your business, it will be easier to actually attract funds, whether from financial institutions or even from any other funding opportunity that is available.
Okay, so there's another question here. It says, good morning, thank you for this opportunity. I have been running patent and proprietary medicine dealers for almost 10 years and I want to scale up to a pharmacy. What can I do?
Well, that is practically impossible for the person to operate a retail store, but I'm sure the person can operate wholesale or distribution. All the person needs to do is to get a pharmacist to be part of the board. Once there's a pharmacist that is part of the board, then I think one of the requirements for Pharmacist Council is already met, and a lot of things can begin to move forward from there. But obviously, that person needs to have a pharmacist on his or her board to be able to proceed forward.
All right, so because of time, we have so many questions, but I think I'll just be able to answer maybe 2 or 3 more. So this one says, please can one contact you, sir? I think what he's trying to ask for is maybe a way to contact you after this webinar.
Of course, yeah, why not? My number is not hidden. My contact is all out there in the world. I think the easiest way to contact me is to send an email. Email is just fantastic. The email will be picked and we can continue to chat from there. The email can be sent to taofik.odukoya@vanguardpharmacy.com or Taofik Oladipupo Odukoya @gmail.com. Maybe I should drop it in the chat for them to see.
Yes. Okay,
I think I'll just drop it there. Yeah. So they can do to those email address, and I'm sure we can pick it up from there.
Okay, so
the first one, you said?
I was just going to say, another question says, please, I want to know if your pharmacy is currently accepting intern pharmacists.
Oh, yes. We are currently accepting intern pharmacists.
Okay, so I think you just reach out to Taofik,
Yeah.
the email
Yeah.
address. He's dropping in the chat now.
So I dropped my official and my personal Gmail account. So Taofik, Oladipupo. Yes, so the two is there.
All right, thank you
They can
so
pick it up
much.
from there.
I think maybe just two more questions, okay?
No problem. I'm here.
So this question, how does selling personal care related products sell in your stores?
Do I get that? Do I understand that question?
I think what he's
The
trying,
person wants to supply us or something.
I think that's what he's trying to get at. So he's
Oh,
saying
why not? Why not? We work with a lot of suppliers across the length and breadth of Nigeria. So the person should just reach out to us officially, info@vanguardpharmacy.com, and I'm sure we will link up with the appropriate department. They will be able to pick it up from there.
Right.
So I want to drop the official email for those that want to do business with Vanguard. Please, they should just send to the official email address.
So the official email address is
info@vanguardpharmacy.com.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So just in case we're not able to take your questions, there's so many questions. I think we'll just take two more. But please feel free to reach out to Taofik via the email. He shared the email on the chat icon. Just click on it. You see the email there. So this question says, is it currently allowed in Nigeria to sell pharmaceutical products online as e-commerce?
Yes, as e-commerce, yes, but the law is very clear. The e-commerce site must be attached to a registered pharmacy. And registered pharmacy means a registered pharmacy approved by Pharmacists Council. So for Vanguard Pharmacy, of course, our online space is there and is attached to Vanguard Pharmacy. So if you want to, any online store must have a brick and mortar that is attached to, because it allows council to be able to hold them accountable in case of eventual malpractices, and that's what the law says. So it's possible.
All right. So I think this will be like the second to the last question. It says, how do you reduce stealing in the pharmacy store?
That's a lot of, it's simple and at the same time it's difficult. It's simple because you have to do the right investment in technology, in training, in educating your people, sharing your vision, in all of those things that we do. Second is that despite the technology, it involves everyone to be disciplined and to be able to follow through. But if you combine all of these things together, these things are possible. We have branches. In fact, the closest branch to me, I've not visited in about 4 or 5 months, and I can vouch for inventory integrity as best as possible. Not to even talk of the branches we have that are outside of the states where I actually reside in. So yes, there's a lot of trainings that we can do. Maybe Flutterwave will bring me back to pick on some of these specific trainings, and we can actually educate the people about what they can do to actually stop some of these things. But it is possible, and people are doing it really.
All right, thank you very much, sir. The last question is, can you mentor a new wholesale pharmacy shop just about to launch?
Okay, I think my expertise is in business anyway. So mentoring, I actually have mentees across various fields, in IT, engineering, across board. So for as long as it is business, the rudiment of business is the same. And so I'm always open to mentor people. But again, in the past, I take everybody that comes. But in recent time, I found out that I need to protect my integrity too. So it has to be people that really want to learn and develop that I actually add on to be my mentee. But again, it is something that is possible. That person, if interested, can reach out to me via email. I shared it earlier, and we can actually pick up the discussion from there. But it is possible.
All right, thank you very much. Guys, I'm so sorry. There's so many questions, but because of time, we're like a few minutes over time already. So please, Taofik has dropped his email address in the chat section. So please feel free to reach out to him, send him an email, and then he will respond as soon as he can. Taofik, thank you so much. This has been very, very insightful. I'm not a pharmacist, I found it very, very useful and very interesting.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so
Thank
much
you very much.
for honoring our invitation. And to all the
Welcome.
participants, thank you very much as well. We're already over time, but I will just leave the webinar on for a few more minutes. So those that haven't gotten the email address can quickly get it. It's in the chat section. And then for Flutterwave, if you have questions for us as well, the email address is hi@flutterwavego.com. I will just type that in the chat room as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time. As mentioned also at the beginning of the webinar, we'll be sharing the video recording of this webinar with you via email, either close of business tomorrow or Wednesday, and then you can rewatch it just in case you missed anything out of it. So before we go, Taofik, do you have any closing remarks for us?
Well, I think I would. There is a question there that sounded interesting. We didn't have time to actually pick it. And that question was talking about, is it actually wrong to flaunt the wealth? You know, I spoke about delayed gratification. And I know that for businesses that are bootstrapped, bootstrapping means you are starting businesses from practically ground zero. For bootstrap, I think one of the greatest things is actually delayed gratification, because you are talking of getting fund. You want to raise fund and all of that. People are looking at you and your lifestyle. Even the bankers that wants to give you money, they want to be sure that you will not collect the huge millions that you claim you want to use for something, and you now divert it to go and buy your latest vehicle because your account all of a sudden is actually stolen. Yes, wealth obviously is not the way we look at it in this part of the world. The wealth we all see is too small, and it's because poverty is so rife in the environment. So yes, flaunting wealth, the money belongs to you, remember. If you grow that business and you grow it into a multi-billion-dollar business, it's still your money. And who says you can't flaunt? You can begin to flaunt at that level where you are sure that even if you continue to flaunt from now till eternity, nothing will obviously happen. But when someone has made a profit of 1 million naira in a year, and the next thing you think of doing is to go and invest in a vehicle, a personal vehicle that costs about 2.5 million, that means you have spent beyond your profit, and you are beginning to spend your working capital. And that's the kind of mindset when we teach delayed gratification. Yes, it simply means grow the business, take it to a level where it will have a lot of impact in the entire nation, and can actually help Nigeria as a nation obviously transform. So finally, I think I want to tell people again, even here, even now, we all need to make impact, and we can actually make impact. And I just want our people to believe, no matter the challenges that seems to be there in Nigeria, we can actually still excel in this country, because there's a lot of gap, there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of problems waiting for the entrepreneur that will solve it. Thank you, Flutterwave, once again. You guys are doing great in the area of payments. You are making life easy for our customers to receive payments, and also for us to be able to collect payment from far and near. And that is something I give you guys kudos to. I hope you guys will not relent, continue to lead in that space. We value and appreciate you. And finally, I'm Oliver Twist. I will obviously ask for another opportunity to come and also speak to the teaming population. I could see a lot of questions that I couldn't attend to, but unfortunately, time is always time, and it is what it is, and we have to respect. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Taofik. Thanks everyone for joining us. The next webinar is next week, Monday by 10 a.m. Nigerian time.